Okay, it's Sunday the 21st of January. Today's video diary of a year living in a motorhome. Been a lovely day today. I forget what I said in yesterday's, but we went over to stay at my good friend Steve's house, Steve and Deb's. So yesterday we washed Oxwich all on the outside, gave her a good scrub, did a few jobs on the inside. I'm pretty sure I would have covered all this yesterday. And we were slept in Oxwich last night, but we were on Steve's drive, but we were still off grid. We weren't plugged in. The temperature's come up now, so at the moment there's no worry about the battery being too cold. There's no thought that we're going to get really super cold in the motorhome. But ultimately, I do need to, as well as checking the outside weather, to know about putting the covers on the outside of the fridge freezer. I do need to be checking the temperature of the battery to make sure that through the night we're going to keep the battery at least 5 degrees C. So if when I wake up in the morning, I need to trigger the automatic self-heating on the battery, that I can just turn on the engine and it'll all work. So that's all good. Today was gathering a few supplies for life in the motorhome, because one of the sleeping bag zips broke. It had been on its way for a little while. Arthur said about it being difficult to use, and I was just like, well, you just got to do it a certain way, because sleeping bags are a bit tricky. But in the end, the zip, it did break in the end. So I've got a different sleeping bag. It's a pod sleeping bag. It's a 2 to 3 season, so that should be okay for in the motorhome, especially considering in future if we're going to have any really cold spells, then I will leave the diesel heater on the very lowest setting through the night. I didn't need any of the 3 or 4 season sleeping bags that go down to minus 22 degrees C and all that sort of stuff. And this one is about the same length, but it's much wider. So I'm kind of hoping, I've sort of done everything I can think of for now to improve my sleep. So that the width, I've got more room to move about in the sleeping bag, so it should be more comfortable. I have got earplugs that I showed you the other day that I've now worn for a couple of nights, and I wore for all of last night, and I was happy with them. And I've done everything I can in the lifestyle that I can control to improve my sleep, so I don't wake up before my alarm basically, or wake up through the night. And luckily Steve had an old Fitbit that he wasn't using, because there was something wrong with it, he said, but we fired it up, reinstalled it. So I'm genuinely going to know, am I getting good enough sleep? Because if I'm getting a good enough night's sleep, I'm okay. But at the moment, the reason I think I'm not getting a good enough night's sleep is because I know I wake up through the night and I'm awake every day before my alarm. And the other physical sign that I've always had all through my life, when I haven't had a good night's sleep, I get bags under my eyes. And at the moment, the bags under my eyes are getting worse, which visually I hate. So,
I've never seen you have bags under your eyes.
Well, you're obviously not looking properly. Let's see. I'm going to monitor my sleep now, which is the thing I can control everything when I'm awake, like food, nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, all that sort of stuff. Going to bed routine, everything like that. I can control all that, and all that's going really, really well.
No,
the bit I have no idea about is what happens when I'm asleep. So hopefully now with the Fitbit app and the Fitbit watch, I'm going to know that data. So that's really, really cool. So that's that. Yeah, so today got the sleeping bag, and then we also, the rucksack I'd been using had started to fall to bits quite a while ago. The actual zip is coming away from the bag. You don't need to show, it's really not that interesting, and I've put it away somewhere else. So we also bought another rucksack that's slightly bigger than the rucksack we had, which will be helpful for when in the week we're in Pershore and I go to the office for work and gym, and then if we go out and about. I've kept the other rucksack because we could still use it if we're out and about. It's just because I'm putting quite a lot of stuff in it to go to the office and the gym. The zip is coming away from the actual bag itself gradually, and now it's a fairly big hole. So that's all good. So that was, where did we go to today? I forget the business, but the lady was really helpful behind the counter who served us. But I find that it comes up in conversation about what we're doing. I've always mentioned we're having a go at living in a motorhome, and because we sort of
eventually that paid off.
Because we I always find a bit of common ground or a bit of interest in what we're doing, or we find out that person's also got motor. Like, I didn't tell you this, when I was in Studley having the problems with the battery, and I decided to go to the nice coffee shop in the morning whilst I left the diesel heater on to try and warm up the leisure battery. I'm parked in this small little car park outside the coffee shop, and I can see this guy in a cleaning van that like washes window looking at me, and I think I assume somebody's pissed off more than assuming they're interested in what we're doing. So I was just thinking, oh God, he's going to ask me to move, isn't he, or something like that. I would have moved if I got asked, but I wouldn't need to. But anyway, the reason he was looking over, in the end, I found out, because I went and chatted to him, was that he's just recently bought a motorhome. He was showing me some pictures of the motorhome. He said we're really brave living in the motorhome through winter and all that sort of stuff. So actually he was looking because he was interested. So I find always, so far, my experience is people are either interested or there's common ground. Why did I start saying that? I've forgotten what it was. Oh no, that was it. So the lady behind the counter at the Millets, that was it, Millets. She said, did she say she had a motorhome? Or she was like, that's really fun, isn't it, in a motorhome? And I was like, yeah, well, we're actually having a go at living in one. So and she was like, oh, were you a member of the caravan club? And I was like, well, not that, but we are a member of the caravan and motorhome club. So she's like, oh right, you get discount. I'm like, brilliant, thanks for letting me know. Now, all this I could know by myself, but I find that with the caravan and motorhome club and a few other, I've got a motorsport racing license, they all have deals with different businesses. Very hard keeping up with all the kind of benefits you get, which is on me to improve. But I just thought it was really lovely that she was forthcoming about the discount, didn't even have to tell us. In the end, the app, typically, when I needed to go into the app to get our membership number, the app was closed down for maintenance, and she was like, don't worry about it. So that's another nice encounter with other humans that are nice. There's lots of nice humans on this planet. So that's that. The other thing to say about for today's diary is another storm. I don't know what the storm's name is this time. The winds in some places of up to 80 and 90 miles an hour. Luckily not here. I checked the weather app, and the winds here are about 24 miles an hour with gusts up to 53 miles an hour.
I'm not a fan of winds. So.
Yeah, I know, but if you think about it, we've been camping at St David's with a massive tent, a tent that's bigger than this motorhome, not as high, but longer and probably definitely wider than this motorhome, in winds at 45 miles an hour. So I think if that tent's okay, we are absolutely sorted in here. But we've come back to the spot I come to in Fladbury. That's a really nice quiet road, well protected with a big wall one side, houses both sides, and it's just a narrow road. There's enough room for somebody else to get past, but it's not like it's a normal kind of A road width. So we're kind of as sheltered here as we can be. The wind is due to die down tomorrow, but it is due to start raining later. So we'll have to go with it. And for now, Arthur's got his ear defenders. I've got my earplugs that I've just bought, so that'll help. And this is just one of the things about living in a motorhome. We are intimately connected with the world around us, and it's also a good reminder of us to be as good as we can and to inspire other people to be as good as they can to help reduce climate change and help reduce all the extreme weather that we're already experiencing. What else? Yeah, we both love the blankets that Granny bought us. Obviously my mummy, Arthur's granny, bought us for Christmas. So this blanket is one that I can actually put on with the sleeves that I've shown you in other video diaries. Arthur's is like a standard blanket but a similar material. Really good at helping to keep your body heat in. And we got our snuggly slippers.
Slippers, I will show you now.
Nice, you've got Grinch slippers. My slippers are standard slippers.
This is my blanket.
Nice.
Very fluffy,
Yeah.
and my slippers. I think you want to see my feet. Because Grinch slippers.
Love it.
They're so soft on the inside.
And they're just nice and
they're
warm, aren't
warm.
they? So, well, they will be your body heat. So that's kind of perfect, really, isn't it? Yeah, well happy with that. I've got nothing else. Have you got anything to say?
Yes.
Go on then. Oh, we just had. Well, we have had facts of what's happened what has happened that day.
This isn't really a fact, but it's a tip that happens for me, so maybe it happens for you.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is what I have to live with.
You love it.
No.
Go on and hurry up.
If you're really cold, by tensing this area, then slowly go down to your hip. Then when you get to your hip, stop, and that should warm you up. I use that trick and it works.
Right, so really good because you're actually making your muscles work, which generates energy. and energy is here.
Yeah, and it won't work instantly once. You have to do it a couple times.
That's an excellent tip, isn't it? Being somewhere in cold weather. The trick also is to regularly spend time getting cold, properly cold. Not so you're going to kill yourself, and it's all relative to each individual person, but so cold that it's uncomfortable, but not so cold that you can injure yourself. And the more you do that, you're basically adding intentional stressors, and your body will get stronger. It will be able to go in the cold more regularly.
Yeah, my mum's house, cold is not a thing, and my auntie that lives there has it on 180 degrees.
It's not 180, you'd be boiling, wouldn't you? But
It
Auntie
feels like
Shirley is very old, and she isn't that mobile, so there's kind of reasons.
a
But
constant 30 or 24 degrees.
yeah, I think it's probably somewhere around 20, 25 degrees or something like that. But there you go. If we can turn down the heating, if we can get used to the cold a bit more, if we can try and get in some cold water occasionally, not just a cold shower. It's not gonna. It's got to be so cold that we don't like it. Just like going in a sauna is so hot that it's tough. So yeah, that's it. And then a couple of tips I heard from the Human Lab podcast, where I get a lot of the latest science about health type things. One thing was avoiding colds and flu, which is also important living in a motorhome, because
some crazy ones you get like a cold or flu from touching your eye.
Well, that's the best route into your body, because the flu and the cold virus, it's developed to come in to be most effective through your eye. You can also get it by breathing and touch and all that sort of
Breathe
stuff.
through your nose.
Well, that's it. If we remember that naturally we are nasal breathers, unless we're running, talking or eating. If we breathe through our nose regularly, we'll get ill less, because the virus gets heated up. Lots of times gets killed in the nasal cavity because it is warm, different environment than the mouth.
If you meet someone else that has a virus or just someone new, try not to touch your eye, because when you meet them, like hello, and then you touch your eye.
Exactly, but the science behind that is that researchers have found that humans typically, when they meet somebody new or meet somebody, they'll often touch their eye after. No idea that again, there's more detail behind it, but when we meet somebody, we'd often touch our eye, and that is a quick route of transferring bacteria and viruses and all that sort of stuff from that person we've just met to our eye into our body, and then we get ill. So that's it for now then, because I want to read for a little bit and get settled and all that business.